So I'm joined here today with Simon Coulson, who is the founder of the Internet Marketing Business School and who created an online business from the spare room of his house, made the first £2 million online, and now I believe is in excess of 10.5 million. Is that correct, Simon?
That's right, yeah.
£10.5 million online. So definitely an expert in your area. With regards to online mastery, somebody who I believe we can get some great insights from. So firstly, I want to thank you very much for taking the time today to speak to me and to give some content and some advice to the viewers that they can then take and implement into their business. And one of the main questions that I keep getting asked is, if somebody is starting online, if they're creating a business, how can they find the right product for them, and how do they know what works and what doesn't? And in your experience, how do you find a product that you want to market?
Sure, okay, great question. So the system I teach on internet marketing really is around a three-step model, and the first step is having something to sell. So what you've got to find is something that you can sell, which you're comfortable with selling, but also is going to make you money, and that's the big thing. There's a lot of people get passionate about a particular thing that they want to do, but actually there might not be any money in it. So it all starts for me with market research. It's all about looking at how big is the market, but also how willing are people to spend money in any given market, because some markets have a massive number of searches, but that particular group of people don't spend money very readily. So, for example, yoga is a good one that I've actually marketed a product in the yoga space. But you look at the number of millions of people searching for yoga every month, it's like tens of millions. But actually, it's really tough to get them to put their hands in their wallets and get some cash out. So it's a balance between an audience that's big enough and finding enough people that are looking for information on a specific subject, but also an audience that's willing and is driven enough to get some money out and buy something from you. And that often comes back to their needs around the product or service, about how badly do they want it. Because something like yoga, just, what's your return on investment? It'll make you feel better about yourself, you'll feel more relaxed, but you can't put a price on that. Whereas if you can create a product that you can show someone is going to put money in their pocket, or it's going to save them money, they can instantly see that return on investment, and they can just do the math and say, okay, I'll spend 10 quid on this, 20 quid on this, but I can see that I'm going to get back benefits of 100 quid, 500 quid, or whatever in a given time scale. It's much, much easier to sell.
Interesting. And I think with internet marketing, I found that there's a saying, I don't know if you can clarify this for me, but it's better to have 1,000 raving fans than 1 million in your database. So I think, is it true, would you say, with regards to when you're looking for a product, to yes, find the numbers, but like you're saying, to find the people that will engage, as opposed to just the numbers themselves?
Yeah, definitely. It's all about finding the buyers, really. And there's an expression in the business, the money's in the list, but the money's really in having buyers in the list. And yeah, I'd much rather have a much smaller list of people that are proven buyers than a kind of vanity list. It's a bit like the old thing, turnover is vanity and profit is sanity, and people talk about businesses. So it's true in list sizes, list size is vanity, and the amount of money you're driving from your list sort of per person is sanity. And if you've got a list of people, you might only have a list of a few people, but if you can then, work with them and sell them other products and services as well. I'll give you a real example. In some of the markets I've been in, my front-end product has been a £9.97 product, but some of those buyers have been such loyal buyers, they've gone on and spent over and earned me over £20,000 each.
Wow.
So, you don't need many of those £9.97 buyers if you can turn just a few of them into £20,000.
So how would you convert people from £9.99 into 20? Would that be through a series of products, or is that into one big upsell? How do you go that? How do you create that leap?
So basically, there's a principle in marketing called a sales funnel. And the principle is that you get people in the funnel with a small, low-priced item. Let's say you get 100 people in that spend $9.97. Then you offer those 100 people a higher-priced item, and a good percentage will buy. So you might offer them, say, a £30 or a £50 product next, and maybe 20% would buy your £50 product. and then you offer them a £200 product, and maybe 10% of your first 100 would buy, and you just take it up because there's always someone that absolutely gets what you do and will buy everything that you ever sell. And what you're doing is trying to find those raving fans that will just consume everything that you can offer them, and it's all about delivering good value as well. But for example, in the property investment space, which is how I got started, I was creating ebooks on investing in different overseas countries and selling those for £10. And people get a lot of value and a load of content in that for £10. So then they would come along and either buy DVDs to, or come along in person to a seminar that was £300. So they've taken quite a big step to go from £10 to 300. It's a 30-fold increase. But that's quite an easy step for them to take because it's still good value for money, and what they learned for £300 could still make them a lot more than £300 in terms of adding to their property portfolio. And then the next step up from there is like once they've kind of met you in person and they like you and they like the people you're working with. And in the property investment space, obviously the next thing is getting into either selling properties or selling things like property sourcing services or property mentoring services, which then takes the next step into the thousands of pounds. So actually in 2 or 3 steps, you've taken someone from a £10 customer to a multiple £1,000 customer.
Interesting, very, very interesting. So, in a nutshell, what you're saying is that you should always have an upsell, always have an additional product.
Yeah, and I'll give you another example of a lower price point. Because obviously, property is a market where price points are quite high. But one of my students, Rick, does career guides, and he sells guides on how to get your dream job, and whether that's a policeman or an airline pilot or a train driver or whatever. But his front end product is a £10 product on how to get a job as a police officer. If somebody buys that, he's got upsells, which are how to pass the police fitness test, how to pass the police role play exercises that you need to do. He's even got one on how to fill out the application form. He's got a service that will check your completed application form before you post it off. So there's lots and lots of different upsells there. They're all kind of 10, 20, £30 products, or you can bundle those, and you can actually easily spend 200 or 300 quid just buying all of his information products on police recruitment. And then the next part beyond that is he's actually some ex-police officers that run one-day training courses in a hotel. So you can spend a few hundred quid and come and spend a day with an ex-police officer and get the inside story on, firstly, how do you pass the selection process to get in the police force from someone that's actually done it and served. But also I think it's valuable for people that are thinking about joining the police force because they get to talk to a real serving or ex-serving police officer and find out what's it really like? What's the glossy picture painted in the brochures that they've got their interest, but what's the job really, really like? So that's a good example. Excuse the doorbell going off in the background if you're picking that up.
That's not a problem, thank you.
But that's just an example of a £10 product into several hundred. And actually, if somebody buys everything that he's got around police recruitment, they end up spending nearly £1,000.
So what I found from what you're saying there is people are actually going out taking one product and they're actually missing a trick because the money is in the people. If somebody is investing in spending money with you, they're more likely to continue to spend money as long as they believe and they're getting the value from you. I think from what you've just said there, it's the value where is the key.
Yeah, it's definitely all about delivering value, and you're de-risking it for the client. If he just went straight in and said, I'll help you get a job as a policeman, it's going to cost you 750 quid. He wouldn't get many customers because it's a big risk. They're gambling 750 quid. Whereas if you just do it in little steps, it's like, well, look, spend £10 and see what you think. And if you like that, well, then spend 50 and see what you think. You're building that trust relationship there and making it much easier for them to make a decision to buy from you because it's little steps and you just build the trust with each step.
Brilliant. I think that's fantastic information, and I think that's definitely something that people can take and imply into their business. If somebody wanted to get started and they're at that point where they're saying, I need a product, but I don't know what to do. I see it on Facebook, I see it on social media all the time where people advertising, get this product, get that product. And a lot of the times with internet marketing, it gets associated with spam, and it's very hard to, at the bottom level, without the knowledge, to jump into a pond full of sharks, so to speak. So what advice can you give to people that are looking to start, that don't maybe have that knowledge, but want to want to just get involved, want to get started, how would they go about that?
I think the advice really is don't do what everybody else does. There's lots of people that are pushing these, multi-level marketing network things and all sorts of get-rich-quick schemes, and they'll try and encourage all their friends to get involved as well. And there's also a whole raft of them around, health and well-being and healthy shakes and fruit drinks and Christ knows what that you have to commit to spending 30 quid a month to be in the club. So where I've made my money is just really by years ago I went to a seminar, and it was one of the guys speaking said, what you need to do is keep your head up and your eyes open and just look around you, because there is opportunity all around. And I think all I've done is just develop the skill of just being really environmentally aware and looking around in newspapers, just in terms of wherever I go, I'm just looking for opportunity and thinking, okay, how does that work? What can I do there? So a lot of my business products that I've developed over the years have come from newspaper stories. Literally just, for example, I got into building products, things around plumbing and plastering and bricklaying, just because I could see all these newspaper stories about there's a shortage of skilled workers, there's all these Eastern European workers coming to the UK. I was seeing page upon page of adverts in the Sun newspaper for building skills training courses, fast track NVQ in plumbing. And I just thought, well, this is saying something to me here. This is telling me there is like a massive demand for these kind of skilled people, and it's something you can tap into. And I just see internet marketing really is a bit like surfing. It's a bit like riding waves. And all I do is I just look for waves to ride, and some of those waves will last for years and years and years, and some might only last for 6 months or a year or a couple of years. So the building one's a good example, because there was a big building boom going on. And I rode that wave and I made loads of money. Literally, I've never done any plumbing in my life, but I made £250,000 from a plumbing course. Okay, everything in the plumbing course I found for free on Google. I wrote the plumbing course, just using the knowledge that's out there. But £250,000, but then with credit crunch, the housing market slowed up. Suddenly, there's not massive demand there, so the demand goes elsewhere. But think, where has demand gone recently? Well, we've had things like solar energy and feed-in tariffs, and a lot of government encouragement around things to do with green energy, for example. So that's a new market that's created. And really good tip is just be also really aware of what the government are doing, because whenever the government passes a law, that creates a whole new market for you. So one of my students, for example, rode the wave around these EPCs, Energy Performance Certificates, and he became the #1 provider of EPCs in Ireland, just because he saw that these things were coming in and being mandatory, and he just said, okay, I'm going to be a provider of them, and he stuck himself on a training course, got his website up there, and got the #1 slot on Google, so he became the #1 EPC provider in Ireland, just because he saw it coming. But we could have all seen it coming. It was, the government announced, right, this is going to become law, gave us a year's notice, plenty of time. And there's loads of other examples like that. I met a guy years ago that had made absolute fortune from the mandatory gas safety certificate business. And just when that became law, that landlords would have to get a gas certificate, he decided he was going to gear up, grow his workforce, and just really focus on that. And become a multi-millionaire just off the back of riding that wave, which again was legislation, something the government made for us. So the government's great. They make new opportunities for us all the time by creating rules and regulations and laws and changing policies that drive markets.
I think it's interesting the way that so many people that I know talk about newspapers and the news and what the government are doing, and you see all this stigma around that, and how they have this negative effect, and how you've turned that into a positive belief. I think it's fantastic. I think it's a credit to what you do, and it shows how there is opportunity everywhere, and it's really just looking out for it. I think that's a very, very valuable advice, and I know that there are going to be people that have questions. I'm going to invite anybody that has a question to please post it below. And also, how can people, if they want to get back in touch with you, Simon, what would be the best way for people that still have unanswered questions and want to pursue this further? How can they connect with you so that they can see more about what it is that you do?
Sure. So the best thing is just to head over to internetbusinessschool.com, and there you can contact us. The contact button on there. Also, you can find out about all the different courses and programs that we run, and we've recently been running workshops around the country, kind of one day, fast track intro to internet marketing, just showing people how they can get started with internet marketing.
Fantastic. Simon, thank you very much for your time. I'm very, very grateful.
No problems. Great.
Cheers.
Catch you
Thank
then.
you.